Hello and a very good afternoon from Bristol in the southwest of England. You join me just as I'm making my way into the city's rather beautiful Temple Meads station. Today we'll be taking a ride up to Leeds in West Yorkshire with cross-country trains aboard one of their classic InterCity 125 sets. Now I'm not going to lie, I have been really excited for this journey, as I always am when a ride aboard one of the old HSTs is in store. But first, I think we'd better take a look at what Bristol Temple Meads has to offer. But before we get the video started, don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications as I publish new trip reports every Friday.
As you know, I don't know.
Firstly, I love the fact that part of the station's car park is under a train shed style roof. Was this perhaps once more platforms or maybe an old siding? Be sure to leave me a comment if you happen to know. Now, I've entered through the side entrance, which brings you into this little entry hall, and I'm loving the curved arches featured in this part of the station. It really is a beautiful piece of architecture. Off to my right here is the main entrance, and you'll find a taxi rank and bus stop just outside it. While we're out here, we should probably take a quick look at the station's beautiful clock tower and facade. Bristol Temple Meads originally opened in August of 1840, and as with a lot of older railway buildings in the West Country, was designed by celebrated architect Isambard Kingdom Brunel. Back just inside the main entrance you'll find both self-service ticket machines and staff ticket counters. You'll also find a WH Smith's newsagents near here. However, it's worth bearing in mind that there isn't a great deal in the way of shops and eateries within the station. And just before the gate line you'll find a load of departure boards. As is often the case, I've arrived well too early for my train to be displayed on the boards, but the service we'll be catching today is the 14:35 to Edinburgh. After the obligatory fight with the scanner to get my e-ticket to scan properly, we find ourselves in the platform area, which is located under this rather stunning canopy. Are you able to see why Bristol Temple Meads is one of my favourite railway stations yet? Our train will be departing from platform 5 this afternoon, which is accessible by this subway. There are also lifts provided for those who require step-free access. Now, usually this service would start in Plymouth down in Devon, but due to track works our service started in Taunton today, but nonetheless arrives from there on time. Even when idling, those locos sound just amazing, don't they? As I mentioned earlier, the ride up to Leeds will be operated by this InterCity 125 set. Today's train consists of 7 Mark III coaches, sandwiched between 2 Class 43 diesel-electric locomotives. The high-speed trains, or HSTs for short, were built by British Rail between 1975 and 1982, and are authorised for speeds of up to 125 miles an hour, or 200 kilometres an hour. Now, I'll be travelling in standard class today, but I had hoped to get a quick shot of first class as I boarded. However, a crew member appeared and I didn't really want to wave the camera in their face, so sorry about that. Moving past first class, we find a small catering area. And then we find standard class or second class, which, as you can see, is laid out in a 2+2 configuration. I've been allocated coach D, seat 53 for the ride up to West Yorkshire today. Now, before we set off, I think it's time for a seat tour. I appreciate that at 6'1" I'm not exactly the shortest guy in the world, but I think legroom's pretty bad. Each of the airline style seats features a small but nonetheless sturdy-ish tray table, although it would appear that someone has taken it upon themselves to vandalise this one, so yeah, thanks to whoever did that. Each window seat has access to a plug socket, and I'm pleased to report that this worked as intended. Lastly, as for the seats, I'd say they're a little bit on the firm side, but still pretty comfortable overall. One last thing before we set off, let's just take a quick look at our route for today. Our journey will see us travelling north via the likes of Birmingham and Sheffield before arriving into Leeds, for a total distance travelled of 206 miles or 332 kilometres. The trip to Leeds is scheduled to take 3 hours and 25 minutes and will very briefly hit the HST's top speed of 125 miles an hour. And we depart Bristol on time at 25 to 3. As we make our way out of Bristol, we pass Barton Hill Train Maintenance Depot, which CrossCountry uses to maintain its Voyager trains. You can find my review of this type of train in the top right corner of the screen now. About a quarter of an hour after departing Temple Meads, we arrive at our first calling point, Bristol Parkway. The station is in close proximity to a number of motorways and was designed as a park and ride station, meaning that people could park their cars out here and then take the train to the city centre, as opposed to driving all the way in and clogging up the roads. Right, time for a look at what Austen's classic InterCity 125 sets have to offer. Racks for larger items of luggage can be found at either end of the saloon. Additionally, you'll find plenty of space on overhead racks for storing smaller items. As you can probably tell, these trains no longer sport their original interiors, with these carriages having been last refurbished in 2008. As you can see, CrossCountry's HSTs mainly feature airline-style seating, although there are a few tables in each coach. In Coach F, you'll find a couple of spaces for wheelchair users, as well as a large accessible toilet. And at the far end of standard class, you'll find Coach G, which is the quiet coach. There's also space for storing bicycles in the guards section of Coach G. CrossCountry advise you to reserve these in advance, but they can be used at no extra charge. As you might have expected, toilets can be found in the vestibules at one end of each coach. And I was pleased to find that, as far as I could tell at least, these were all clean, well stocked and in good working order. One last point, while I didn't record my usual test, these trains are equipped with complimentary Wi-Fi. We're soon at our next calling point of Cheltenham Spa. The town is located on the outer fringes of the Cotswolds and is of course known for its annual horse racing festival. About half an hour after departing Cheltenham, we find ourselves approaching the UK's second city, Birmingham. We then proceed to call at Birmingham New Street. This is the UK's busiest railway station outside of London, and almost all of CrossCountry's services either call at or terminate here. We'll be stopped here in Birmingham for just over 5 minutes while a crew change takes place. As we make our way out of Birmingham, we pass the old Curzon Street station. This originally opened in 1838, but closed to passengers in 1893 and has been completely out of use since 1966. However, it is set to once again be welcoming passengers come 2026 as the Birmingham terminus of High Speed 2. Shortly after departing Birmingham, I decide to go and grab a cup of coffee. As you can see, Cross Country serves Starbucks coffee. This set me back £2, which isn't too bad as far as onboard train prices go, I think, and I found the quality to actually be okay. I'll be sure to link the full menu in the description below. Next up on today's service is Tamworth. While the town is known for being where the famous three-wheeled Reliant Robin cars were produced, did you know that the UK's first ever indoor ski slope opened here in 1994? We incurred a delay here as one of the doors was stuck open. While I appreciate the need for the electric doors, I can certainly say I never remember a slam door HST having this problem. Maybe someone who frequents refurbished HSTs can let me know in the comments if this problem is common or not. Eventually the offending door is fixed and we are back on our way, albeit now 15 minutes late. After Tamworth, we find ourselves travelling at close to top speed. I found the ride quality of these Mark III coaches to be okay. They're nice and quiet and there isn't really much in the way of rattles, but I do find that they're really quite bouncy when travelling at speed. Our next stop is Derby. The city is of course famous for its ties with aerospace company Rolls-Royce as well as Bombardier Transportation, who have a railway rolling stock production plant here too. About an hour out of Leeds, we stop at Chesterfield. With a population of just shy of 104,000, this is the second largest urban area in Derbyshire after Derby. As we continue towards the county of Yorkshire, here's just a quick reminder about my Patreon page. Patrons gain access to most of my videos 2 weeks before everyone else, and best of all, without all those pesky ads. You can get this for as little as $1 per month, and even save money by paying for an entire year's worth of access up front. A link to my Patreon page can be found in the top right corner of the screen now, as well as in the description below. Our penultimate intermediate stop today is Sheffield. This is the second largest city in the county of Yorkshire and is historically famed for its production of steel, earning it the nickname the Steel City. The city is also home of Sheffield FC, who are recognised by FIFA as being the world's oldest football club, having been founded in 1857, although the club has never played at a professional level. Our final stop before Leeds is Wakefield Westgate. This is one of the city's 2 stations, the other being the nearby Wakefield Kirkgate. Overall, I found CrossCountry's HSTs to be pretty good as far as 40-year-old trains go. Bar the lacklustre legroom, I thought the seats were pretty good and the interiors were quite nice. I also found the crew to be very friendly, which is always great to see. However, or rather I should say my bank account, was profoundly less impressed with the price. I paid £82.65 for my off-peak single, including railcard discount of a third. It would appear that CrossCountry aren't even offering advanced singles on this route at the moment, and I find it baffling that they're getting away with having this as the cheapest one-way ticket on offer. For reference, I did a quick search, and it's actually cheaper to travel in first class if you go via London. The only upsides of the tickets that CrossCountry are offering is that you can take any off-peak train and that a return is only 65p extra. Anyway, now that I've had my little rant about CrossCountry's often ludicrous fares, I want to know what you made of the experience and what do you think would be an appropriate fare to charge. Be sure to let me know in the comments. Now all that's left for me to do is to welcome you to the lovely city of Leeds, where we arrive just 5 minutes late in the end at around 6:05. And with that, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then be sure to help us out by giving the video a like. If you're new to the channel, then you're going to want to subscribe and enable notifications as I publish new trip reports every Friday. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next Friday.